We talked there about food prices and how that's impacting farmers and consumers as well. I'm sure, have you noticed your supermarket shop has gone up? Yes. By how much? How much would you say?
Too much.
Too much. Money that they'd rather spend at a show like this. One of Yorkshire's most well-known brands, Heck Foods, says they think that the price rises will continue for the next 18 months. So why are things still going up? Why is it happening? Ollie Constable has been investigating.
Every cost you can think of, energy, labour, the raw material price of pork and chicken has had a massive effect on our business.
The sausage maker Heck is not alone.
We've got the capacity to make 500,000 sausages a day here.
Co-founder Jamie is feeling the pinch. Every day he's taking calls from suppliers who tell him they're upping their prices. And now there's a warning to customers.
Their shopping budget will be incredibly high for the next 18 months. Grain prices have fallen across the market. This takes time to fall back into the supply chain, unfortunately.
And it's that supply chain which sees us being stung at the checkout. Like a domino effect, if a farmer is paying more for grain to feed their cows, then it's passed along to the producer, then the retailer, and ultimately us, the customer. In a year, cupboard staples like baked beans have gone from 76p a tin to £1.7. A kilo of potatoes jumped from 58p to 72p. And 2 pints of milk will now set you back almost £1.30, when a year ago it was just £1.
You've just got to pay it, haven't you, if you want it. Well, it's just rough, really, isn't it? I've got, obviously, a 3-year-old, and now I'm, like, looking really deep into the prices of the tomatoes, like, which one's 125 or 175?
Phenomenal, sort of twice what it used to be, definitely, for the same things that you're getting.
But it's not just us at the end of the chain who are struggling.
Yeah, it is tough, it is, and it's very, very stressful. Our feed price has gone through the roof, it's more than doubled. Fertiliser has gone up, wages have gone up.
Ted is a farmer who looks after a herd of cows here in North Yorkshire, with his Wagyu beef being sold across the country. He works with Grace at Warrendale Wagyu, selling the beef at a fixed price. Much of it goes to wholesale customers, but also some supermarkets. Most of it, though, ends up in the hands of people like John, who runs the pub The Alice Hawthorne near York.
Danny, how long are you going to be on this stock?
Everyone in this supply chain has bills to pay, bills which have kept growing.
The costs have gone really through the roof, you know, whether it's the energy bills, which have really been crippling, but followed by now, as we all know, the price of food. Passing it on is very difficult to, you're very frightened of doing it. I think we're all worried that we're going to lose our customers.
Back at the factory, and there is a glimmer of hope.
I do think it'll start to ease it after 18 months. Who knows what can happen? No one's got a crystal ball, but for now, I think there's this light at the end of the tunnel.
Ollie Constable, BBC Look North.
We're going to discuss this further with a couple of guests. I'm joined by Adam Henson. He's a farmer, and you might recognise him from Countryfile. He's one of the presenters. And also Minette Batters, who is from the National Farmers Union. Thank you both for joining us. We just heard there about the pressure on farmers. Adam, you will know that yourself, being a working farmer. There was the weather, we've had the war in Ukraine, and the price hikes. Is there a light at the end of the tunnel?
I think so. I think there's some really positive things going on in agriculture now. We're looking more at sort of regenerative farming, looking after our soils, bringing our carbon footprint down. But in Britain, we produce some amazing produce under very tight legislation, but that's something we need to celebrate and get more people buying British and supporting British. And I think that young people coming out of agricultural college or university now have got a very exciting future ahead of them. You know,
A government minister was here today. Are the government listening to farmers?
I think they're listening. They need to start doing. The new environmental schemes, sustainable farming initiatives, have been changed and altered and are much better than they were. We need to celebrate that. But there's more to be done. Food security is important. Our trade deals are important to get those right, and supporting the countryside and the farmers and the people that live in it.
Minette, one of the big slogans this year from the NFU is Yorkshire feeding Yorkshire, that local cycle.
We've done a huge piece of work, which is really looking at the out-of-home market. So the pubs, the bars, the hotels, the restaurants, that in all is 50% of the value of the food market in this country. And we're really just trying to tell the story. We've done a lot of work with case studies. So McDonald's, for instance, actually has really good sourcing credentials. They source nearly all that they sell, so milk, poultry meat, beef, all from farms that are either UK or the Republic of Ireland. Organic milk as an example. So that's a fast food chain, but we've also been focusing on other businesses trying to tell that story and trying to create further relationships about links back to farms so that we can sell more British, more local, people really buying into the climate change challenge but wanting affordability in there too.
For the consumer, they often think buying British is expensive. Is it?
We are actually, in Britain, we have the third, per income spend, we have the third most affordable food in the world. So coming just below the US and Singapore. Singapore doesn't actually produce any of its own food. So people here, I know everybody feels the pressure at the moment, but we do have really affordable food. And cost inflation on farm at the moment, sitting at about 43%. So these are challenging times for everyone.
Adam, very quickly, highlight from the show this year.
I really enjoyed going to the innovation area where they're looking at tech and lots of exciting new things happening in agriculture. You know, young people, whatever you're interested in, the agricultural food supply chain could be for you as a career. It's very rewarding and the best job in the world.
Adam, Minette, thank you very much. Thank you. Well, another big issue being raised at the show this year by a farming family from North Yorkshire is the risk of sepsis to farmers after they sadly lost their daughter to the disease. Now, sepsis is a life-threatening reaction to an infection, and tragically, Hannah Brown died in 2021. She was just 26. She had a gorgeous little girl, and her death has sparked a national campaign to raise awareness among farmers who often leave their open cuts unchecked. Abba Giola has been to meet the family.
Millie is being raised by her dad Ben, his parents and her mum's parents. Her mum Hannah died 2 years ago. She was only 26 and Millie was just 6 months old.
Oh, it was heartbreaking. It's broke my heart, no question about it.
Having Millie is absolutely wonderful, you know, she's just a joy for all of us, an absolute treasure. Ben struggles sometimes, you know, he misses Hannah terribly. She was an amazing person in Ben's life and just the person he needed.
Hannah died of sepsis. She'd felt ill but kept on working and no one realised how serious it was.
She bumped into a friend who was very concerned about Hannah and said, I really don't think you're well, Hannah, and I think you need to go to the hospital. And Hannah had said, oh no, I'm fine. You know, I've just got a bit of flu or something, I'll be fine. So on Hannah's route home, the friend telephoned me to say, I've asked Hannah to go to hospital, please make sure she does, because I am concerned.
Just 3 days later, Hannah died in hospital. Her death has sparked a new campaign to raise awareness of the disease among the farming community. Today, Dawn and Millie were at the Great Yorkshire Show to spread the word to farmers.
If you get a cut in your hand or an injury in your leg, you tend to just think, oh, it'll be right, it'll sort itself out. And sometimes it won't.
Hannah's family say the life-saving message is starting to get through.
I know we've saved 4 lives with sepsis. I know of friends that I know have been to the doctors and they asked could it be sepsis, and it was. And if they hadn't probably asked, the outcome could have probably been different.
Millie is growing up without her mum now, but the hope is other farming families can be prevented from having to live with the same loss. Abby Giola, BBC Look North.
A lovely family there, aren't they? OK, we're going to move away from the show now and bring you some other news from across the region. A former Labour peer's bid to overturn his conviction for sex abuse against 2 children in the 1970s has failed. Lord Nazir Ahmed of Rotherham served 2.5 years in prison after being found guilty of sexual offences. The Court of Appeal today found Ahmed did not have arguable grounds for a full appeal. A suspected World War II explosive has been removed safely from Meadowhall Retail Park in Sheffield. Police and an army of bomb disposal team were called this morning after the device was found during building works. The retail park has since reopened. Plans for a £13.9 million revamp of Dewsbury Station have been revealed by Kirklees and the West Yorkshire Combined Authority. The proposals will see new safety and security features, improved seating facilities and a new customer service desk. Here at the Great Yorkshire Show, there's lots of talk about growing food on a mass scale, but you don't need acres of land. Take a look at these, the veg boxes that have been created by local primary schools. And there's greening and grow your own projects popping up all across our region. Some of them are shared with communities.